Alright, so we should be live. Trying out the new hat. Picked up one that's actually my size. I'd have to move the camera when I get a chance. Anyway, yeah, this has been a very, very rough period. And I'm very tired. I'll explain why as we get more people, if we get anybody, because I know it's late and I haven't done a live stream in a while. Let's see. What was I going to go to? YouTube. There we go. Just want to make sure that I got everything there. Yeah, looks good. Switch this so I don't miss anything. There. All right. So, yeah, for those of you, excuse me, that might be watching this later, the reason there were no live streams this last week was, and if you haven't seen the shorts or kind of got the gist of it, is that not this 2 weeks ago, I guess you could say, I started feeling dizzy. Now, lack of balance is a normal part of my MS, so that's nothing new. But it just seemed to be intensifying that particular symptom, very much like what you would call vertigo. And hey, Robert, I see Robert is first in the chat. Good to see you, buddy. So I started experiencing dizziness, and by the end of that week, it was getting really bad. And so to the point where I literally could not walk straight because the dizziness was so bad. The world was spinning. It was like you were drunk, but without the fun parts of being drunk. So, my wife insisted that I go to the urgency care clinic, which we did. And I kind of begrudgingly went because my assumption was they're going to tell us exactly nothing. And I was right. The urgency care clinic simply referred me to go see a physical therapist to verify whether or not I had the actual condition known as vertigo. Vertigo is actually a fairly easy condition to test for. However, it's also not a test that anyone other than a physical therapist can give because it involves moving you into different positions and then observing your eyes for certain involuntary movements and stuff. And that sees if they say there's some like crystalline structure in your inner ear. Sounds weird, but whatever, they're the experts. That if these structures get misaligned, that causes what we call vertigo. And so the physical therapist, and I've done these tests before years ago when I first developed this as a symptom for my MS. And the physical therapist came up with the results that I kind of would have expected, which is that no, he was 100% sure I did not have vertigo. So he suggested that I try to rest, and obviously if things got significantly worse, I could always go to the ER. So this was Friday afternoon that all this was happening. So we get home from now my wife was concerned that I was somewhat dehydrated, and so she wanted me to drink a whole lot of liquids. So she made up these little, electrolyte drink, and was making me drink a little bit every, I don't know, half hour, hour, or whatever it was. She had an alarm, and but I was just tired after all this stuff with the vertigo and the testing and stuff. So I just wanted to go to bed. It was only 6 o'clock, but I was just tired. I wanted to sleep this off. Which, funny enough, well, we'll get to that in a minute. So, but whenever the alarm would go off, my wife would wake me up, make me drink some of this water, and then let me go back to sleep. However, after some unspecific specified amount of time, I don't remember. I'm sure my wife could tell you. I threw up all the water that she had been giving me, and the vertigo was not only even more intense, to the point to where now taking so much as a step on my own without falling down would be very problematic. But in addition to that, the I was feeling nauseous, and I began. Now I have little tremors in my hands every now and then. I'm shaking my hand here, but it's like I'll be sitting there and they'll just kind of do that kind of thing every once in a while. Well, the tremors got so bad that I looked like a person with late stage Parkinson's. That's not an exaggeration. My head was bobbing around, my hands were waving around uncontrollably. I could not function pretty much at all. On top of this, I was extremely disoriented, like someone who, was so intoxicated that they didn't even know what room they were in. And it was very difficult for my wife or anybody else to get me to answer even most basic questions. So at that point, my wife decided to take me to the emergency room. Fortunately, my son, Joshua, who some of you have seen every once in a while, he happens to have a hobby of intensely working out. His arms are massive. And so Joshua was able to support me and get me into the car and stuff. And then they drove us to the emergency room, where I started with another fun-filled symptom, which was I started losing time. Like at one point, the doctor came in and was asking me to do these basic neurological tests that I've done a million times, where it's like, okay, lift this leg, and then she's like, okay, lift this arm, okay, now lift this arm, and then I'm holding the arm up, and my wife was like, what are you doing? And I said, I'm lifting my arm. The doctor just asked me to. Well, the doctor had been gone for like 20 minutes, and so I just like completely lost a huge segment of time. That was the first time I remember the experience of losing time, but it's entirely possible that it happened before and I just didn't realize it. And it happened several times on Friday. The So they kept me there, and they wanted to do an MRI, along with a kidney scan and a couple other tests. And there was a problem with the MRI because, as some of you know, I'm a cyborg. I have a neurostimulator inside my back, and in order to do an MRI, a medical professional, if you tell them that you have a neurostimulator in your bag, which you should, because if you don't, you can end up doing some serious damage to yourself. If they're going to do an MRI, they have to verify, because some neurostimulators, and mine is one of them, have something called MRI safe mode. So they need to verify it's an MRI safe mode. But in order to verify that it's an MRI safe mode, they have to have the controller for the device and the communicator for the device, because the communicator actually communicates to the device and the controller controls the communicator. And so that way they can see on the screen that it's put into MRI safe mode. And on top of that, for some reason, they also have to see that the controller and the device itself and the communicator all have a full charge. And so that was becoming a problem because we didn't bring any of that stuff with us. Yeah, you're right, Stan. It was all at home. So my wife had to go home and get it. She didn't, because she doesn't deal with this stuff. She didn't know exactly what to get. So she came back with some of it, not all of it. So then she went back. And the next day, she brought it, but it was we were then, and so we had everything we needed, and we couldn't get the stupid thing to connect. Like I tried and tried and tried, and I couldn't get the controller to show the neurostimulator and how much, and what mode it was in and stuff. And this is Saturday we're talking about, or Sunday now we're talking about. And meanwhile, the people that want to do the MRI are just waiting for me to be able to verify this neurostimulator, but I can't do it. So the only way to talk to anybody from a technical standpoint about the neurostimulator is to call their tech support line. Their tech support line is only open Monday through Friday. So we have to wait another day, and then we get the neurostimulator. And by the way, over this course of these couple of days, those intense symptoms are slowly dissipating. So by Sunday, I no longer looked like an advanced Parkinson's patient, but I did look like a Parkinson's patient. I did have vertigo, but with care, I could walk to the bathroom. So I was improving slowly, but they still had no idea what happened. And that's one of the reasons they wanted to do the MRI so bad, is because they wanted to confirm it was not a stroke. So we finally get to the MRI on Monday. And I think that it was because of the heightened emotional distress of both the symptoms and the fact that my emotions were a little bit off, because that was part of the symptoms. I'd never been so terrified in my life than getting that particular MRI. It was absolutely horrific. I was panicky the whole time. I literally tried to claw my way out of the MRI a couple of times. The claustrophobia was real. And I always have had problems with MRIs, but usually I can keep myself under control. But this time I absolutely could not. Thank God it was a short MRI. It was only a 10-minute MRI. But that 10 minutes felt like an eternity in that stupid tube. So they get the MRI done. And the good news, I didn't have a stroke. That would have been the worst possible probable cause of these symptoms. The bad news is we may have to reevaluate my MS, and that it looks like what we experienced was a full-on MS flare-up, which the type of MS I was diagnosed with, PPMS, that's not supposed to happen. And so we'll see if it happens again. If it is a quote unquote normal ish flare up, the way the MS flare ups work, then I should expect another one sometime in the next 6 to 18 months. And the thing is that, really, there's not much you can do other than, as I was trying to do on the first day of all this, just kind of sleep it off. Because if I'd gone to bed on Friday, I would have slept through the absolute worst of my symptoms. And then Saturday, I would have been bad, but it was so exhausting, I would have probably slept through most of that anyway. The main reason I wasn't asleep at many points was just because the nurses were constantly coming in and, checking vitals and drawing blood and doing all that stuff. And so so they finally released me from the hospital late on Monday. So obviously there was no way to do a Sunday live stream because I was literally in the hospital, and I couldn't really do a Monday live stream because I didn't get home until after that time frame had expired. In theory, I could have done a Tuesday live stream, but one thing to also consider, and this is just, I don't remember if I talked about this particular thing, but I had a completely unrelated thing happen where I had a flat tire. I took it into the Big O Tires where we do business. And as it turned out, I needed 2 new tires and a front end alignment, which is like a $600 bill. So, so I have an extra $600 bill that I'm currently trying to deal with, in addition to the fact that I didn't have any access to working on. I don't think I drove on Thursday because it was getting bad, but I didn't drive at all on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. I don't remember if I drove on Tuesday. I don't think I did. No, yeah, I did, but that's when I started driving again. So. There were a few days the week before I went into the ER when I was just feeling the vertigo that I go out and drive, but then within a couple hours I just had to come home because it was too much. So, all this going on. So now I'm out of the hospital, but I am up to my proverbial elbows in bills that are behind. So I've been spending every waking hour driving Uber since I got out of the hospital. I'm still dealing with some residual symptoms from the attack, which are not my normal MS symptoms. So the increased vertigo is definitely still present. Here we are a full week, a week and 2 days after the peak of that event. And the general weakness that I felt, like this sense of like everything, my body is just so heavy I could barely do anything. That's still there too. So those particular symptoms, that it's possible that they're permanent. It's also possible that they'll dissipate in a matter of days or weeks or sometimes months, depending on the individual. And so that's just something that my neurologist and I have to track. So yeah, that's why I haven't been around. And so I am truly sorry to all of you that were disappointed that I didn't get a chance to do any of the Bible live streams or just the Sunday Church Life live stream. As for today, let me finish it. So today, I'm trying desperately to, make up for the lost bills. And there's a slight shining bright light in all of this. Nothing major really, but I did get a letter from the state of Tennessee. They approved and sent me my permit that I can now have darker tinted windows on my car, which I'm very happy about because direct sunlight is becoming an increasing problem for me. And as summer comes, that's going to get worse and worse and worse. And in fact, today, when I was out before doing this live stream, some direct sunlight from the car just. Uh, it's funny because it doesn't matter what the temperature is. If I feel direct sunlight on my skin, it feels like my skin is on fire. Um, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, so Uber sometimes offers bonuses over the weekend or sometimes over the weekdays. It's nice when they do both. Like during the holiday season, they usually do both. But they if there's a big event or something like that, they'll commonly do some kind of bonus. And what it'll be is, hey, like a typical one for the weekend might be something like, if you do 30, 30 rides over the weekend, which is Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that'd be like 10 a day. If you do 30 rides, then you'll get an extra $15. And if you do 10 more than that, we'll give you another extra 10. So now you got an extra $25. And then there's always a next level if you want to go for the higher level reward. So it will say get 40, which is the amount of the 25 for the bottom one. It'll say get 40 for 25. So the same amount you would get for getting 40 on the other one. But if you get to 50 for the weekend, then you'll get like another 15 or another 20 or something. And so that's your maximum stretch reward. So this weekend, and the numbers I gave you, I didn't just pull out of thin air. That's a very typical bonus weekend reward that they do. And so you have to pick before the start of the weekend whether you want to go for the lower end one or the higher end one. And if you pick neither, then you can't get it. So you always need to check your app on Thursday to make sure that there's no bonuses set for that weekend or if they're particularly good. Well, this weekend they were extraordinarily good, some of the best I've seen. And so for the 40 level, if you hit that, you would get a $50 bonus, which is nice. And if you hit 50, then you would get another $30 on top of that. So I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely going for that. So I need to get 50 rides in this weekend. And so doing the math, that's roughly 17 a day. Okay, I can do this. Friday was actually pretty good. I got like 22 in. Saturday was an absolute disaster. So Saturday, there's some problems with the Uber app to where it wasn't dispatching people correctly. It was telling people that you were, like, I actually got a call from a customer that said, "Why aren't you here?" And the app showed that I didn't have a current ride. And then when I restarted my phone, and then the app did show I had that ride. So a lot of problems like that going on. And so even though I got 22 in on Friday, by like 3 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, this morning, only had about 25 or 26. I mean, it was pathetic because that's total. I was only like halfway there. And so I'm like, okay, I'm just going to push through as hard as I can. And I drove, and then I even stopped at a fast charger and recharged the car and drove some more. And I did this until just before this live stream. So I had been driving from 9 o'clock last night, nonstop until about 1 o'clock this afternoon. So, and here's the frustrating thing. I definitely made up for some lost time in the early hours of Sunday, up until Sunday afternoon. I was definitely making progress. However, as of right now, remember, I need to get 50 rides in before basically, I think the clock expires at 4 a.m. tomorrow. And I am at 48. So I need two more. I don't want to go back out. I'm so freaking tired after driving that huge stretch of time, and I shouldn't have been driving that long anyway with my symptoms the way they are. But I'm after this live stream, which I'll wrap up in a little bit. I'm going to try to take a little nap and then go back out and get at least two more rides in and then be done with it for the weekend. So at least I can get that bonus. And I'm going to use part of that bonus to pay for some window tint so that I can drive more during the day without as much discomfort. So there you go. That's, I think that's everything. I'm sure I forgot something, but yeah, hope you guys are well. And I'm sorry that, again, I haven't been around. So everybody's saying shalom back and forth. Oh, and happy Father's Day. This was my Father's Day, Happy Father's Day, everybody. Spike says, how dare he cover such a magnificent mane? Oh, because I have the hat. I like this hat. I'm sorry, I just do, and I got one that actually fits now. I gotta, kind of train it because I like the front brim down and the back brim up, but it's going to take a while to get that. Multi gunman asking how it's going. Well, if you've been listening for the last 20 minutes, I guess you know. Gorilla saying Kapla. I don't. I assume that is that what Picard had. I think is what you're trying to say. I'm not going to try to pronounce it right now. Matthew saying, "How's your health?" Well, just went over that. Martin says he'll be back, which of course was yeah. You already answered that. Robert says America isn't ready yet for military support if we get involved. We have to rebuild our military from the previous administration. What are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about there. I did watch some of the Flag Day celebration yesterday. I did not. I really don't give a crap about Flag Day. I'm sorry. I know some people are like, oh, how dare you not be, uber patriotic and like wrap your dick in, red, white, and blue condoms all the time or something. But that's not me. I consider myself extremely lucky to be an American. However, I think that this nationalist craze that's hit the political right lately is not healthy. Not in the way that they're doing it. Don't get me wrong. I do believe every country should always act in the best interests of that country first, to a point. I also think that there's definitely something to be said for altruism, and that's something that is grossly missing right now. Everybody is just saying, what about me? What about me? What about me, 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 me? Wait, so if you don't sign up but hit their ride targets, they don't pay. That is correct. So you got to make sure you sign up every week. And signing up is as simple as you check to see if there is one and then tap on it. Yesterday's MeTV TOS was the man trap. Salt vampire got killed in the end. Yes, indeed. Poor Nancy. Sounds like quests don't count what you did if you didn't accept the quest first. Yes, that is true. Trustin saying good afternoon. Hey, Trustin. And happy Father's Day to you. Thank you, my friend. You've had a rough stretch. I'll pray for you. I appreciate it, Multi-Gunman. It has been a very rough stretch. On top of that, my wife is still, she has a nagging case of bronchitis she's been dealing with. Well, so you know, I just got over a flu right before all this. So, like, honestly, the first thought was, well, the flu did something. But at the same time, well, I'm the only one that got the symptoms. And, basically the doctors and I came to the same conclusion. The fact that I had a flu that subsided just before the vertigo hit hardcore is just an unhappy coincidence. Is Upper AI a friendly robot? Does it tell you good job on the app? Is or throw cheesy jokes occasionally? Like, why does any trucker have a Star Trek helmet if he does not wear it? Hat is dope. Is Upper AI? I see me Uber. No, it is not. The Uber algorithmic. By the way, I've been and thank you, Trustin, for recommending this. Hope you're still listening, Trustin. I've been listening to a audio book by John Lennox, mathematician, theologian, and former professor at Oxford. And Lennox wrote a book called 2084, and it's all about AI, and it's actually very interesting. And talking about like what is what we call AI and what is real AI and what can AI do and what can AI not do and stuff like that. It's actually been really interesting book. But but no, the Uber app does not throw jokes at you. The only thing that's really, I would say, AI or algorithmically generated is the dispatch system. And the problem is that since the dispatch system has zero transparency, we will never know how exactly that algorithm works, although it clearly plays favorites. Kermit Frog in the house. Hey, haven't seen you in forever. Did you see that they're making a new Spaceballs after 40 years movie? Is movie sequel to the original movie. I did see that. Thanks to Mr. Know It All. I think I was in the hospital when he told me about it. And at first I thought it was an AI joke. But yeah, so they're finally. I just hope they call it the quest for more money because that's what it was supposed to be called. But who knows? The I hope it does well, but at the same time, I'm not the biggest Spaceballs fan. I'd be much more excited if they were doing a Galaxy Quest sequel. It was also yesterday the 250th anniversary of the American Army. You were there. Yeah, jerk. Good to see you. Hope you're on the way to getting better. Well, at this point, I'm stable. I can say that much. It might be a matter of having to adjust my medications if this is just the new norm for now. And Trustin likes the hat, so there. I like the hat, and Trustin likes the hat. Now, hear this ludicrous speed now, says Douglas. It's a very interesting book, The Stuff of Dystopia. Yeah, it is actually a pretty good book. Godson says, hey, you're back, and hey, you're front. Except it's only being produced by Brooks. It's actually written by Josh Gad, who I can't stand. I don't know Josh Gad by name, so but what do you expect? Brooks is like 340 years old now. Went to an Orthodox church and had a great time. Well, good. Glad you liked it. And directed by a guy who did Will and Harper, the mini series about Will Ferrell going on the cross-country road trip with his old friend who transitioned into a woman in his 60s. Never saw it. You're saying that's a movie that Josh Gad made, but you know what? obviously that's not the exact same kind of movie. We'll see what this is. Hopefully it's good. I'm more. I'll be honest. I'm more looking forward to the new Spinal Tap movie than anything else right now. But I do have my tickets now for both Superman and Fantastic Four. So there's that, I guess. Let's see. No, no, no. And let's see. Robert says, what would have been like if things had worked out and we got Tom Selleck as Indiana Jones? Then I think Indiana Jones would have driven a Ferrari. Let's see. So Brooks is probably only going to make it to be a glorified yogurt cameo. That would actually be hilarious. If like the whole purpose of the movie is for yogurt to come out on stage at the end. If I'd ever heard that everyone or nearly everyone that was on in the movie was going to be in it, and I understand it, I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know. Alex Bogey says, greetings, flying today, but only to Stan Lee because he hates everybody else. Let's see. God says, I tried to debate with an atheist and got thrown of rent, he asked in Bible verse. Okay, I don't know what you mean there, but I'm sure it makes sense to someone. Let's see. Alex says, what are those Crow XP points? Oh, the Crown XP points. That's something that Google does now. It's not just on my channel. I think it's everywhere. So the top 3 people in the chat are awarded crowns as bragging rights, I guess. AI thinks Fat Albert can defeat Mr. Bean. Just mean, and it's not actually written or directed by Mel Brooks. Yeah. Well, that's not neither here nor there. I mean, the first one was written and directed by Mel Brooks, and I thought it was not that great. I'm number one. Oh, oh, yeah, that was a thing. Nice to see you're wearing your hat. Thank you, Godson. See what you think of Western Orthodox. What do you think of Western? Oh, don't get him started on Western Orthodox now. Awesome it is. Robert says, when the hint you're wearing, let's see, with the hat you're wearing, Salty Tricker, the Indiana Jones came to mind. Tom Selleck was the original choice for the role. I did hear that, but I still think he would have ended up with a Ferrari. I think he's just, let's see. I think it was just, I think it's just Catholicism by another name, Western Orthodox. I don't know. Do they recognize the Holy Roman Church as the authoritative church? I mean, I don't know. Alex, the crown thing, yeah, it was a recent ad. Stan Lee says, and I just posted one of those shorts, but you you do not order seconds. Yo, you certainly don't. Alex Bogey says another gimmick to Bradley. Yeah, okay. Oh man, you see I'm getting so tired. How is it going to get points into the top 3? You have to put a lot of stuff in chat, react to a lot of stuff, comment to a lot of stuff, probably like and subscribe if you haven't already. Yeah, just don't hurt anybody. Can you get second burger or another piece of chicken? Huh? Because of the. Oh, you mean with the hospital food? No, you could not. If that would be nice if you could, but no. You are given the portions they give you, and that is all you will get. Andor would have been better if Disney allowed them to make 2 more seasons. No, Andor would have been worse if they had made 2 more seasons. Andor was the worst Star Wars series of all time. It craps on the lore, and it proves that the Empire is in fact the heroes of the story. So yeah. A Ferrari and lots of Hawaiian shirts, yes indeed. Or another scoop of powdered potatoes. Yeah. Actually, those potatoes weren't like I'd say they're a step up from like KFC potatoes. I tried to debate with an atheist and got thrown off when he asked me what verse in the Bible verse is. Okay, I'm not sure what you mean exactly. So the biggest spammer gets the crown. Well, the biggest commenter. I mean, currently the crown is is Kermit, and number 2 is Godson, and number 3 is Trustin. I'm okay with that. Oh, now it looks like Bradley is number 1. Bradley, are they going to actually release Ironheart? I have a feeling it's not going to do well, so it could be probably won't. I hope they do. Here's the problem. The reason Ironheart is going to probably, be a flop has nothing to do with the quality of the show. It's already a flop because half of its audience has decided so. You have people like Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic and all these idiots out there, and I'm sorry, that's what they're. I'm sure they're perfectly nice, reasonable, and intelligent people generally, but when it comes to this, they're being complete idiots. They're sabotaging the franchises that they think they love so much just so they can get clicks, and that makes me absolutely sick to my stomach. There is no way these guys know any of the crap they're talking about. Like, Fantastic Four test screenings are horrible. It's a nightmare. It's bad. And it's like, and then I'll say, yeah, they don't know that. And then somebody will say, yeah, but this other YouTuber, that one chick from whatever review site that doesn't do anything. She said it was the MCU, that it's all woke, and it's like, okay, whatever. Man, I just went on a random tangent there. I am just getting too tired to keep going. So I'm going to have to wrap it up, guys. I'm sorry. But I am too tired to keep going. But I do want to say thank you for those of you that have been praying. Please continue. And hopefully I'll be able to get up at some point before 4 o'clock in the morning and make 2 more runs. And that will be my Father's Day in a nutshell.